Good day, I'm Polo Leteka, the founder and chair of IDF CAPITAL, which is a fund management firm in Johannesburg, South Africa, and I also happen to be the managing partner of a fund called Alethea IDF, which is co-managed by ourselves and a firm called Alethea CAPITAL from Nigeria. AIF invests in businesses that have got the potential to mainstream women across the whole value chain. So when we came across the Rentoza opportunity, we were quite careful in looking at how women are impacted, women as owners of the business, women as employees of the business, women as managers in the business, women as consumers of the products that the business sells. And we were quite impressed with the story that they had to tell at the time. And our coming in has actually helped them to further enhance that gender empowerment story. We also looked, of course, at the team. We were quite impressed with a very experienced management team that were very clear about the problem they're trying to solve and how they were going to solve it. And they had proven themselves capable of being able to solve it. And importantly, we were also looking at scale, or the potential for scalability of the business, because of course we are investors, we're also looking for financial returns. So scale talks to financial returns. So both impact, social impact is important for us, but we are also mindful that we manage investor funds that are looking for alpha. AIF's vision really is to unlock the economic potential of the African continent through entrepreneurship. We believe fundamentally that women making up more than 50% of the population across the world, let alone on the African continent, they need to be given sufficient financial and other support in order for them to fully pursue the opportunities that lie from an economic perspective. Statistics from the African Development Bank, for instance, say that about 42 billion worth of funding is required to back African women entrepreneurs, and we are hardly meeting 2% of their funding needs. So we also wanted to catalyze financing for women entrepreneurs on the continent and businesses that have got an impact, as I said, across the whole value chain on women. To then hopefully drive further capital into the African economy, and specifically into African women as an asset class. We liked Rentoza because it's got impact on gender and diversity. We believe that it also has a positive impact on SMEs who may be looking to utilize, electronic products, but don't have the capital to outlay the full funding that is typically required. So the impact that it has on SMEs and on women as well, SMEs. We think that this model makes sense for the consumer of today. The consumer of today is not looking to make a long-term commitment to a television or a phone or a digital watch. They want to make decisions on what they need today, and if tomorrow they have to change their minds, they want to have that flexibility and convenience. So that is really what the consumer of today increasingly is looking for. We think that there is scale for that, not just in South Africa, but across the continent. And particularly in countries where access to financing remains a very difficult thing to acquire. A model of this nature that almost democratizes access to these capital goods that ordinary consumers would otherwise need a lot of funding to acquire. This democratizes that. It gives people access to those products that they would ordinarily not be able to afford. So we think that with Africa having more than 1 billion population, and with the penetration of the use of technology and the internet, we see this the total addressable market for this particular offering growing exponentially over the coming years. So we certainly see an expansion across the continent. And because we as a fund invest in 6 countries across the continent, in West Africa, 2 countries, Nigeria and Ghana, and in the SADC region, we invest in South Africa, in Zambia, in Zimbabwe, and in Lesotho. We already have strong networks on the ground in those countries, and we believe that we're a very good partner to help Rentoza get into those markets. And even in other countries where we don't necessarily have boots on the ground, we do have very strong business networks that we believe we can leverage to help Rentoza to get into those markets. So we're quite excited about the growth story, and we think that we will walk this journey with Rentoza in unlocking that potential. We believe that part of the problem that Rentoza is solving is the financial inclusion challenge that continues to bedevil the African continent. The introduction of the behavioral scoring mechanism that they use, which is a technology algorithm that they utilize to look at people's behavior and determine their credit worthiness, gives people who ordinarily do not pass the credit scoring tests the opportunity to actually pass this behavioral scoring test, and therefore give them access to capital or access to goods that they would not ordinarily have access to. Financial inclusion is a very big challenge in Africa. The bulk of people, especially women on the African continent, are still on the periphery of the financial services system, which then means that they're not able to become fully productive members of any economy. So creating these alternative ways of assessing credit risk actually means that we can include more and more people into the financial system, which then gives more access to capital and finance for ordinary Africans.